obviously we won 3-1 at home to Morecambe in the third round of the FA Cup. A very lackluster display from the boys yesterday. It was just shocking, wasn't it? I mean, we hardly laid a glove on Morecambe for pretty much the whole game up until the big guns had to come on. Shocking performances all over the park. I mean, I guess let's start off with the positives because there were a couple of good performances out there. I mean, in terms of our good performances, I felt that Winks, Davis, and Sessegnon were probably our brightest sparks yesterday.
Yeah, I think we struggled big time to break down Morecambe. Clearly, the players in the team who weren't regularly playing struggled to find any sort of rhythm. It's no surprise our best players were Davis and Winks, who've been getting them out of the players in that team, have been probably getting the most game time for the first team. So that was no surprise to me that they were the best players. But we badly, through central areas especially, struggled to break down a very poor, well, might I say, Morecambe side as well, who are not doing very well in League One at the moment. They forced us to go out wide, where we had big lack of quality, especially on the right-hand side. Actually, to be fair, I thought Sessegnon was all right, especially when he was able to threaten down the left, even and on the right. He was on both sides. He was decent.
I felt like both of them were actually on, but Doherty and Sessegnon were both getting in good positions time and time again, and both of them had a bit of a lack of quality in the final product.
Yeah, I think I saw a bit more quality in Sessegnon than I did in Doherty. But Doherty, you're right. They were both getting good positions, even in the second half when they were both inverted. I thought they were both still actually threatening, but they weren't really creating any chances. I think one player who's actually gone under the radar, who actually had a decent game, not amazing game, was Lo Celso. I actually thought he was all right. I actually thought he was all right yesterday. I don't think he was as bad as a lot of people. I wouldn't put him in the same category as Ndombele in terms of his performance yesterday.
No, I agree with that. And I think with Lo Celso, I thought he started the game quite rusty. But he grew into the game as the game wore on. I mean, in the beginning stages of the game, he was taking pop shots that was just strolling to the keeper, and he was like picking them up, routine saves from him. And then as the game wore on, he was getting a bit more creative. He was taking better shots on goal as well, and then grabbed himself an assist as well.
It was very similar. I remember, I can't remember which game it was. I think it was in the Conference League earlier in the season. He was having like a shocking game, and then we made some subs, brought on some of the first teamers, and he was like a new player. Can't remember what game that was, but it's a very similar situation yesterday, I felt.
Isn't that the Pacos game, maybe?
Maybe, but I felt like yesterday was a similar situation. He wasn't having the best of games, although he had the most tackles on the pitch and he had creating the most chances on the pitch. But
created 6 chances yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah. And then once Lucas and Kane came on, he became a lot more alive, and all of a sudden he was picking up positions, taking a lot more dangerous shots. Got obviously, as you say, got the assist. So I actually think he wasn't so bad yesterday, Giovanni Lo Celso. I've seen him getting a lot of shit online for some reason. I don't know why. So I don't know. I thought he was okay. And Winks, as you say. He claims he meant the goal. Do you believe him?
I know. And like,
do you watch it? Do you see his interview?
I didn't see the interview, but I heard about what he said. And cast your mind back to last year when he scored that goal from the halfway line. He clearly said after the game, "Oh, that was just a bit of fluke. I didn't mean it." And then in this one, he goes, "He did mean it."
Yeah.
I mean, straight away, obviously, everyone's reaction was like it's a complete fluke. But if he meant it, fair play to him, man.
It's one of those where he said he's aiming for the far post, and if it goes in, it's a good goal. But if it's under hit, then it can it's still got a chance of being a decent cross.
That's what Sonny said when his cross went all the way through against Watford. He said exactly the same thing.
So to be fair, it was good technique on it, a lot of whip, a lot of power. So it was a good effort, whether he meant it or not. And look, ended up in the back of the net. That's the most important thing. And I think Winks was definitely our most dangerous passer again. Definitely our brightest spark, and he seems intent in grabbing that opportunity and making sure he's going to be part of this team going forward. I think a lot of people questioned whether his heart's really in it or whether his guy's going to develop. He's what, 25 now, is he?
Yeah, 25.
Yeah, so he needs to start really stepping up now if he's going to be a proper player for Tottenham. Yeah. But look, early signs are good. Still, a lot of football to be played, and he still needs to break into that team. And at the moment, I think I would start him over one of Højbjerg, skip probably Højbjerg at the moment. I'll definitely look at starting him regularly because whenever he plays, he seems to be the brightest player at the moment.
You know what impressed me with Winks yesterday was actually his set pieces. I felt with his corners were really good yesterday, and there was that one corner where he could have been disguised as like a bad corner. He went for the front post. Dele Alli made a really nice run, and then it was like a back heel. But I thought Winks' delivery time and time again yesterday was spot on, absolutely spot on. And yeah, good for him.
We know he has a good pass. He has good accuracy. We know that.
I don't think I've ever seen him take corners before. Before yesterday. I mean,
no.
You had him on one side, you had Gio on the other side, and his corners were so much better than just Gio's. I felt yesterday.
I thought Gio's corners weren't terrible.
Oh, there were some of them that were just hitting the first man, and they were just awful. I mean, there was one or two that were good in there from Gio, but ultimately, I thought.
But there's a problem. I don't know what it is. We obviously, as Tottenham fans, we focus on Tottenham. So whenever we see a corner hit the first man, we're like, "Oh, that's a terrible corner." But I remember reading an article I can't remember who it was from. I think it was from the Athletic, saying there's like an epidemic of corners that hit the first man just across the whole Premier League.
Yeah, starting with Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not just a Tottenham problem. It's like it's a weird thing where Premier League players have struggled a lot. I don't know if they're struggling or it's a plan, but a lot of them hit the first man at a corner. And I don't know what it is. It's very strange. It's a strange thing.
I've been noticing it for a long time. I mean, I don't know really much about, but look, like while I'm talking about Christian Eriksen, literally every single corner used to hit the first man. Lamela used to have good corners. I mean, his ones were always pinged in. But look, Winks' corners yesterday I thought were brilliant. I thought he was putting them on a plate, putting them in really dangerous areas. So good for Winks, man. He's grabbing his chance time and time again. Every time he's played under Conte, he's had a really good game. So.
He's starting to take more shots as well. He took a shot from 25 yards. He's starting to actually do things to hurt the back four, which is what we've been complaining about for so long. Winks, where it's just a sideways pass and not too threatening. But actually, he's starting to add things to his game, which we always hoped. So, look, that was a positive. Defensive-wise, look, they had the corner and they had a few counters, Morecambe, but we didn't, let's be honest, they didn't really do much. You can't really judge. Although, as much as they didn't do much, still, I thought, we'll go into the negatives in a minute. But sticking on to the positives one more second. So, yeah, that's it. So, Sessegnon, I was happy with as well. He was a threat down the left. He was using his pace, and I thought it was really good. He looked confident. Only thing is, he inverted it in the second half. I'm not quite sure it worked that well. Although they still were still pretty threatening, but they weren't. I don't think it improved them, inverting them.
Yeah,
probably the same.
I would agree with that. It was probably more of the same, to be honest. I mean, it didn't change much. But what I want to say, Matt Doherty. Matt Doherty also coming under a lot of stick for his performance yesterday, and I don't actually think it was as bad as people are saying. I mean, he was getting up and down the pitch quite well. He was getting in good positions. Yes, his quality was left wanting most time, but like Sessegnon's was as well. But it felt like they were targeting him from crosses every single time. The corners were always landing for him, and he hit the post, and with a bit of end product there, you're probably talking about a really good Doherty performance yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think Doherty actually has shown improvements since Conte's come in. I still don't think he's been anything like the Doherty we saw at Wolves, or anything like a player who we need in this squad or want starting. But I think it would be stupid not to acknowledge that definitely since Conte's come in, he's played much better. He looks a lot more assured. He looks a lot more. He's getting into a lot more threatening positions, which he just wasn't able to before, it seemed. And when he does get there, the quality is still lacking, but he's still showing a bit more quality than he did before Conte. So that's good. Hopefully that's more in a view of us getting some money for him, because I still don't think he's good enough. But yeah, in terms of yesterday, I don't think there was not too much wrong with what he did. I still think he showed a bit of a lack of quality, but he wasn't by any stretch one of the reasons why we were not winning or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. But like you say, he's definitely one that needs to go out the door pretty soon. One last positive, actually, that I want to talk about is obviously the big guns coming on. I don't even know if that's a positive or a negative. But,
yeah, it probably goes down to a negative that we needed them to come on. But
yeah, but the big guns come on. Lucas Moura was brilliant, I thought, and obviously Harry Kane sealed it off right at the end. But Lucas Moura, he came on and straight away, he showed what needed to be done against this team, picking up the ball, driving at the defence, capitalising on mistakes from them as well. So yeah, another strong display from Lucas Moura.
Yeah, I thought he was great. I thought he was brilliant. Coming on, he completely took the game to them, and he pretty much forced the issue. I actually thought Kane was really good actually when he came on as well. I thought he was really difficult to deal with. They both got the goal. They both got a goal each, and they were both really, really strong showing. Conte, I think, must have been frustrated that he had to bring him on, but needs must. You're 1-0 down to a League Two side with 20 minutes to go. Like, you just got to make sure you get through, and that's what we did yesterday. I feel like if this was like in years gone by, people would have said, it was one of those cup ties where we rested 10 players and we just got the job done in the end, and it was no big deal. But because of just how things are going with Tottenham and how the last few games in terms of, Watford, Southampton, Chelsea, and now yesterday, just a lack of chances. Yeah, that's the thing. Just a serious lack of chances created. So that narrative is very strong at the moment that we're really lacking creativity, and how reliant we are on the likes of Kane and Son was so evident yesterday. Kane and Lucas.
At the end of the day, we're through to the next round. We had some shots on goal, as opposed to some other team in North London. Exactly,
and that's the most important thing. We're into the next round.
But let's talk about the negatives now, and there were a lot of them. Let's talk. Where do we start?
We'll talk about Ndombele. We got
first of all, on Ndombele. First of all, that was probably Harry Kane's best moment of the game, shouting at him as he was going on.
Yeah, 100%. We'll talk about his future a bit later on, but in terms of, if you just we'll just talk based on this game. First of all, I thought he was horrific, just in general. I thought his passing was wayward. He was sloppy. I don't know. In terms of like work ethic off the ball, I didn't take too much notice of that because we had so much of the ball anyway. It's not like I don't remember too many times he was like being aggressive or anything.
I actually felt in the opening minutes, in the first 10-20 minutes, I thought he was up for it, and I thought he was actually trying really hard and running and stuff like that. But then as soon as things started not to go his way, he started losing the ball. Ball started bouncing off him. Every time he tried to take it past a man, he was losing the ball. And then his kind of confidence in the game just waned until it hit rock bottom, and it was just an awful performance.
Yeah, and I thought actually at the beginning, yeah, I agree. As I said, like in terms of his off the ball, I'm not going to judge him on that because we had so much of the ball. Like I don't know, I can't really tell if he was doing his job off the ball because he didn't have that much to do. Yeah. But in terms of on the ball, he looked at the start. I thought he was trying things. He looked like the guy who was gonna break down Morecambe and play quick passing. And I think he was trying to play some football. And maybe he was. I don't know what. Maybe he was getting frustrated with players around him or something. But his passing as the game wore on was deteriorating rapidly and really badly. He was doing this, but his moments he became very similar to like how Dele gets, like when he's really frustrating. Like he's very easy to dispossess. He's not hanging onto the ball. He's just giving it away in silly areas. His passing wasn't accurate. I thought he was but by the time he went off, he was a bit of a shambles. I felt, to be honest. Yeah, I don't remember any points really, even in the beginning, where he was like in and around the penalty area trying to pick the lock. He was more deeper. Maybe that was his role. That he was probably told to do that because we had no. To be honest, no, he would have been further forward. He should have been. That was his role yesterday, wasn't it? He was in the front three.
Well, yeah, he was.
Or supposed to be.
I don't even.
Or
know.
No, actually, to be honest, I think we were 5-3-2 yesterday. I think it was Dele and Hill.
Dell up front.
So with Gio and Ndombele.
Gio, I felt Gio was a bit more further forward than him yesterday.
I think they probably took it in turns, but I felt like he was trying these quick one-touch passes. He wasn't, even when he had space to like take a touch and just control things, he would just try and lay it off first time, and more often than not it would go wayward, and it was really frustrating. He was getting frustrated. I think the team were getting frustrated with him as well. And then obviously the whole substitution debacle.
I mean, it all came to a head then, didn't it? I mean, did you see the clip of all those players looking? I mean, Dyer is looking at him like he wants to kill him.
I think maybe it's becoming a bad situation. I'm worried it's becoming a bad situation in the dressing room. Everyone said, I particularly said in the summer, I thought potentially, Sissoko and Aurier leaving in the summer, having some of his like real close friends leave, might help him, but maybe it's had the opposite effect.
It seems as though it has had the well, I don't know, man. If it's had
Guys,
the
look, because last
opposite effect,
season he was definitely more integrated with the team, and he was getting a lot more playing time. And now we barely see him. When we do see him, he barely lasts an hour. Yesterday, I don't know. He doesn't seem to have many friends, except for like Sonny, like who seems to be laughing, joking with all the time. But Son's friends with everyone. Like he doesn't seem like no one seems to be wanting to part with him. But anyway, look, we'll talk about his future in a sec. But I thought his substitution, the way he trudged off like that, 1-0 down, had to be told twice by Tanganga and Kane to hurry up and get off the pitch because we're losing with not that long to go. It was a horrible look, and I think a lot of the fans who were booing yesterday. Most times I don't, but in that situation, I think he was being a dick, Ndombele, and apparently, he was slowing down the more they booed as well. Yeah. So he was like making a point of it. I think Brian.
Just that, there's a triple substitution. You've got Dele, whose numbers come up first, and he runs off, and even Dele's running off. And then you got him who's walking off, and then Brian Hill who like sprints past him to come off.
Yeah,
it's just like ridiculous, man.
No, that's not good. It's not good. Not good enough.
I think it was we were drawing or losing it. We were losing at the time.
Yeah, losing
1-0, and he's walking off like we're winning 5-0. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
No, it was pretty disgraceful. I don't know if it's on the level of Granit Xhaka. I think Brian's compared to the Xhaka incident, but it's still pretty bad. And he needs a lot of redemption if he's going to come back from that.
George last night in the fan cam related it to Hossam Ghali's moment against when Martin Yol.
I wouldn't say it's as bad as that. Because I still think if Ndombele, if he's still here by the end of the window and he plays, like there is a route back for Ndombele, there was no route back for Ghali.
I don't think he's talking about in terms of the actual action. I think he's talking about from the view inside the stands and what it actually felt like.
Oh yeah, I mean potentially
because he was there at the game.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, all right. But I think with Ghali, look, I think Ndombele is going to have to put up if he does stay. He's going to have to put up with a lot of shit. But from fans and stuff before he proves himself, and that's what Conte was saying after the game. But let's move on from Ndombele because we're going to go on to him in a sec about his future.
In terms of some other negatives, I mean, Dele Alli played up front yesterday, but just not his position, is it? I mean, I
thought they both struggled.
They both did struggle, but I felt like we'll talk about Dele and then we'll get on to Hill. But Dele, I actually thought he was trying yesterday. I thought he put the effort in, but it's just not his position. It just wasn't coming off for him, and just not a good performance again from Dele Alli. What did you think of how he completed?
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad for him. He's not a striker. We played him up front. He struggled badly to really influence the game. He didn't really. There were a couple of times I can remember he was able to make a clever run and get beyond the back line, but he just didn't have the pace or the strength to hold off a defender and actually impact the game. And I don't think he was like not giving his best, but I think he was played in the wrong position. And I also think he still like, even if he was giving his best, he still didn't play well. So like, it's not like I saw like some nice touches or anything from him. He was anonymous pretty much throughout the game, and we needed a presence up there. We had no presence whatsoever. It was very easy for Morecambe this is to have very physical defenders just bully him out the game basically. And Brian Hill, they're both completely bullied out the game. We weren't able to get them in the game whatsoever. I think Dele, the only way he would have influenced it was if he was able to come a bit deeper. He wasn't able to do that. Because maybe if he came deeper, we'd have no one up front because we'd have a sub striker. So yeah, it was poor from Dele, but I would say more because of his position than it was because of any sort of attitude problem.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And on the other side, Brian Hill, his partner for the day, I thought that he started the game really well. You know, the effort was there, the desire was there, the energy that you always know you're going to get with Brian Hill was there. And in the first half, I thought he was causing Morecambe a few problems, but again, not his natural position, looked uncomfortable in that position. And in the second half, he kind of waned out the game as well. I thought he didn't really influence anything in that second half.
Yeah. I think he's just developing, you know. He's still young. You got to remember this kid, Brian. I think, look, a lot of people had a lot of expectation, I think, from Brian Hill when he first came, like in the summer. Like, but you got to remember, he hasn't even done anything yet. Even like in Spain, you know, I know he had a decent loan spell last year. But again, he was a teenager playing for a team relegated, and he did a few bits and pieces. But it's not like this is a guy who is ready to come in and really affect things. Like I don't understand I understand he had a good run against Chelsea and he put in a cross and we nearly scored from it. But like I don't understand these people like who are saying, "Oh, Son's injury." Like I don't know if it was on the fan show or I was just talking to someone, but they will say, I remember someone said, "Oh, you know, Son's injured, but I don't mind so much because maybe Hill can get more game time and we're going to see more of Hill." Like, I like Hill, don't get me wrong. I think he's could grow into a good player, but right now he's just not ready. He's not ready to really impact games in a proper way. I'm sorry, he's just not. I don't think he's a bad player by any stretch, and this isn't an indictment on Hill. I just don't think physically or as a player who I know we signed for decent money, but I don't think he's ready to come in, and even if he gave him a run in the team, he would like start getting goals and assists on a regular. I don't think he's at that level yet. I think he's still developing into his body. He's still developing as a young player. You know, this guy wasn't a regular for Seville or anything. He played a few times. Like, he was still like an up and coming player for Seville. So we got to give this guy time. We can't put too much expectation on him. Obviously, I think he should be getting some game time. I'm not saying never play him, but like to think like he's going to come in and do anything in place of Son would be putting too much expectation on him right now. I just think he's a young. I think you should treat him just like a youth development player. Like he's a young up and coming player who's definitely going to break into the first team at some point. I'm confident of that. I think right now, he's just like a player, a young up and coming player who's still developing. So I think people maybe expect too much from him.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I feel like if our squad was in a better place, he would probably be one that we could potentially loan out. Right now, because we've got such bare bones at the moment, we can't afford to. Yeah. But I think for the good of his career and for the good of his bringing him through and everything like that, I think a loan move is probably what's best for him.
I agree. I think if he was playing week in week out in a Premier League team, sorry, then he would come back a much better player.
Yeah, even if he was fighting at the top end of the Championship, I think it would be a good move for him. Obviously, Premier League would be more ideal, obviously, but I think that either or, to be honest. And another player.
I'm sorry, just going back. Clearly, even in his short spurts, he's shown quality for Tottenham. I'm not saying this guy doesn't have quality. I'm confident in that. I just think people expecting him to come in like regularly, like anyone getting excited about seeing more of Hill because if that Son's injured, I think is going to be left disappointed.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And another player who probably needs a loan move right now in Japhet Tanganga. 2 games now, and at fault for goals. Yesterday he lost his man at the corner. He just got spun, didn't he, by that Morecambe defender?
It wasn't even clever. I was watching it. It wasn't even clever movement. He didn't get spun. The guy just, I don't know what it was.
He just moved away from him. And Tanganga fell to track him.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was a clever movement or anything. Yeah. Just Tanganga took his eye off the ball. I think for a split second he lost concentration and it was easy. And
Tanganga yesterday, I thought he looked nervy on the ball, uncomfortable on the ball. Obviously that happens with the goal. But I think after that he did slightly grow into the game. But when these moments keep coming in your game, I mean, something needs to happen with Tanganga. He needs regular game time and he needs to go out on loan to further his development because it's just not working at the moment with Jaff.
Yeah, I think he looked shaky as well on the ball. A few times he was looking a bit nervy yesterday. It's a bit of a theme at the moment after what was a really shaky performance against Chelsea, to say the least. Although
I felt like it's been like this since that Man City game, pretty much.
Although what I would say about the performance against Chelsea is he did make 2 mistakes, but what I noticed was he actually grew a bit of confidence in himself and he didn't let the mistakes get to him in that second half, and I actually thought he had a pretty good second half performance. But again, unfortunately, came back against Morecambe. And you need him to, in these kind of games, I know he's young, but you need him to be dominant, to be dominating in these kind of teams and strikers, and he didn't seem to do that. He just seemed shaky. He seemed he didn't like. he didn't have too much to do, but what he did have to do, he didn't do too well, Tangang, and I definitely could see him. He could definitely do with a loan, I think we should have sent him on loan to Fenerbahce in the summer. Would have done good, I reckon.
Yeah. Can we afford to put him out on loan?
Not now, unless we get someone in.
Yeah.
But his partner as well, I don't think
Joe
had a
Rodon.
particularly great game either.
Joe Rodon, to me, looked really uncomfortable. I mean, I read after the game that he was playing with an injury, with a rib injury, and I think that really, hampered him on the pitch yesterday.
Maybe that was it, because there were a few times where it wasn't just that he looked uncomfortable, but he was looking frustrated. But I don't know. I don't know if it was a couple of times. I felt in the first half there was a ball going. He was running towards his own box, and then he plays a weak back pass to Galini, and Galini has to mop up his sloppy pass, and then he looks really like feeling sorry for himself. But I wasn't sure if he looked like frustrated and angry, but I wasn't sure if he was frustrated, angry himself or Galini. And then second half, a similar thing happened. Another ball over the top. He's like shielding it to Galini. Galini didn't come, and then I thought he could have easily either passed it off or put it out for a throw, but he puts it out for a corner with a poor clearance, I felt. And again, he was looking frustrated, and he was like, "What's going on?" and angry. But
is that when they scored from that corner?
Potentially, actually, it might have been.
I think they did.
That might have been.
Rodon and Galini got in a bit of a mix-up for the corner that they conceded from.
Yes, it must have been that. Yeah, it must have been that. So, again, Rodon was looking frustrated and angry. But I don't know if it was himself or was it Galini again. I think maybe more of a Galini. But
I think he was just getting really frustrated, and the injury obviously didn't help and hampered him a lot. And I just felt he just looked really uncomfortable throughout the game, to be honest.
Yeah. So look, I didn't know I know he was injured. I didn't know he was playing with an injury before. Yeah. I thought he must have recovered. So if that's the case, I don't want to judge him too harshly.
Ali Gold confirmed it, I think, this morning.
Then fair enough. Then I guess I don't want to say, like, I'm not going to say he had a shocker then, but he just didn't look particularly comfortable throughout the game, I would say. If that's the case, he's playing with an injury.
All right, look, at the end of the day, we are through into the next round. We got Brighton in the fourth round, which is a fairly good draw. I mean, we're going to have to play more of a stronger team than we did play against Morecambe yesterday. But it's a tie where you think that you still probably expect us to go through.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it very much depends what kind of games we have around that time and what kind of form we're in. There's still a lot of games we played.
It's the 2nd or 3rd of February is the game.
So just after international break, is it? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, look, Brighton are a good team. They're not going to be easy. It's going to be a good cup tie, but I still have us as favourites, especially if we've got Son back and any new signings through the door. So. I'm looking forward to it. I think, I mean...
Yeah, signings through the door that aren't cup tied.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully we have some sort of signing at the time that FA Cup tie is being played. But they're not going to be easy, but at least we're at home. It's going to, it's going to be... hopefully it'll be one of the headline games on that weekend. And I think it should be a good cup tie. I mean, Brighton are a good team, but then... in terms of being a cup team, like, they're so poor going forward. Like, cup games are usually very attacking, very open, and that could definitely play into our hands, I think, in this kind of game. Where, Brighton is a draw specialist, but a draw doesn't help you in a cup, does it?
No, it does not. And look, I think it's a good draw for us. I mean, I was hoping for Bournemouth or Kidderminster or something like that, but I'm hopeful to go through. I am hopeful to go through.